Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, welcome back to Jubes & Co with me, Dawn Neeson. I've still got the wonderful Dame Andrea Jenkins with me, and also the equally wonderful tonight, I think, Kevin Craig with me. You might not agree with him, but I think they're having a damn fine debate here. Now, most Brits believe the gap between rich and poor is widening, according to research from the Co-op, with a shocking 3 in 4 people saying they don't have access to their needs. Do you agree? Are you really feeling the pinch, though? And what's causing it? Kevin, we touched just now on things the government are doing well and things they're not doing so well on. Do you think they are improving people's lives financially?
Getting there, and this question is why I joined the Labour Party. And one of the proudest things of the last year is the increase in the national living wage that Labour's brought in, which has put incomes up by 1,400 quid a year. That's what a Labour government was elected to do. It's one of the reasons I'm in it. And increasing the spending power that people have is a priority for the government, and I'm really proud of what they've done on the living wage so far, and there's a lot more to come.
So, Andrew, if we're all sort of like having our, our incomes increased, how comes 4/5 of us believe that we're actually poorer?
No, I think it's several things. Public services, when people can't get a GP appointment, they can't get access to a dentist, and I'm not saying it's this government, it's previous government as well has never fixed it. And also, I mean, look, when my fixed rate finished, my own mortgage went up £800 a month, and as a single parent, it's a hell of a lot to find. And so people are struggling, and we know about the winter fuel allowance, how people was worried about that, and they don't feel better off. But I'd just say back to your point, actually, you say about the living wage, that the Conservatives, they did every year, they increased that. Reform, we want to do it to 20k. But you can't, on one hand, increase it, but also, with the Employment Rights Bill, hamper progress of businesses on the other hand, because why would anybody employ somebody under a Labour government?
Well, you see, I'm one of those people that employs a lot of people, and I went from a South London council estate to founding a multi-million-pound business.
I've got a normal background myself.
Exactly. Greg's, I believe, is part of it.
A Saturday kid for 4 months.
Indeed, yeah. So we both get it. We all get it on here, but the government is a believer in capitalism as the best way to bring people's lives on, and its measures, the priority, the Employment Rights Bill, is giving working people more rights in the workplace. And yes, as a business owner, it cost me a ton of money, the national insurance changes that come in, but it doesn't mean I can't still keep on employing people. But it's not just the national insurance,
though, is it? It's people's probationary periods from day one, that 2-year where you can, taken to tribunal is now gone. I just think there's no protection for businesses under Labour.
But under this government, confidence from the business community is a 10-year high. It's out this week. You can still, you can still get on, change your life and make money in this country.
I'm not getting that message from people out there. Gwyn's just messaged in, Kevin, do yourself a favour. Labour have destroyed employers.
Exactly.
But
these are people running small businesses. They can't... You might be running a large business,
no, we're still a small enterprise. If you're a 10 million turnover, you're still small. But what I'm at pains to say is it is not easy for a lot of businesses out there. Andrea talks absolutely about mortgages and the costs there, and that was, one of the reasons Labour got in was what the Tories did with mortgage rates overnight. It is not. It is hard for a lot of people. Absolutely.
No, but look at what the Chancellor did with her episode in the.
Unfortunately, I've run out of time. I think
no.
you've both been brilliant. Andrea Jenkins, Kevin Craig, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you for your company, but don't go too far because up next is GBN Tonight. I think it's with Martin Daubney. Lucky you. Thanks for watching.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good evening. This is the latest AI travel news from GBnews.com. The Queensferry crossing is closed to double-decker buses due to adverse conditions. On the A470 southbound at Merthyr Tydfil, roadworks cause closures and diversions. In Cheshire West and Chester, the M53 southbound exit slip at Junction 9 is closed due to debris. In Staffordshire, a vehicle fire on the A500 southbound between the M6 and the A34 leads to all lanes being closed. And on the trains, Storm Floris causes disruptions, with Avanti West Coast advising against travel north of Preston and Cross Country urging travellers to avoid Scotland. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year. We'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
A very, very good evening to you. This is GB News Tonight. With me, your host, Martin Daubney. Coming up on tonight's show, Nigel Farage has unveiled his new prisons advisor, Vanessa Frake, who has called for the UK to introduce US-style supermax prisons. I'll be asking her about that in just a moment, as well as a controversial statement allowing trans women into female jails. And as the government announces £100 million for smashing the gangs, I'll be asking one of yesterday's migrant hotel pink protesters, a woman who was there at Canary Wharf, what she makes of it. And as the Prime Minister faces continued backlash from Labour MPs over his recognition of the state of Palestine, I'll be joined on the show tonight by the cousin of a hostage who was held by Hamas after the October the 7th attack. Plus, a teacher claims he's been sacked after criticising the decision to send Lucy Connolly to prison for 31 months. It's the interview they all wanted, and he joins me on tonight's show. Now that is a meaty menu. Stick with me. I'm also joined by GB News' senior political commentator Nigel Nelson throughout the evening too for a good old ding-dong. Plenty more to come, but first, let's get the news headlines, and here's Sam Francis.
Martin, thank you. A very good evening to you. Just after 7 o'clock, the top story. The government is pledging an extra £100 million to smash people smuggling gangs. That cash will fund 300 new National Crime Agency officers, bolster the UK's returns deal with France and upgrade intelligence tech. It comes, though, as more than 25,000 migrants have now crossed the Channel in small boats just this year so far. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper says that Labour is laying the foundations for stronger law enforcement. The Shadow Treasury's James Wilde told GB News he thinks it's just a distraction.
Well, it just feels like it's a gimmick to distract from the figures last week showing 25,000 people have already arrived illegally, a record number, and over the last year it's 48,000. And the reason for that and the numbers going up is because Labour scrapped the deterrent that we had in place. We hadn't operationalised it, I accept, but the scheme to remove people if they arrive illegally is key to breaking this business model of the gangs. And I fear that this is just an announcement that was trying to distract from that.
Dame Stella Rimington, the trailblazing housewife super spy, as she was known, has died at the age of 90. She made history as the first woman to lead MI5 and inspired Dame Judi Dench's iconic portrayal of M in the James Bond films. Her family say she was surrounded by loved ones and her dogs, holding on to life until her very last breath. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has named former prison governor Vanessa Frake as his new justice advisor, as he has been ramping up his party's campaign on crime. She says that Britain's prison system is on its knees, accusing successive governments of failing miserably to tackle reoffending and support for inmates after their release. She's backing tougher sentences for lifers and wants urgent reforms focused on rehabilitation. It was the second high-profile appointment today after Conservative Police and Crime Commissioner Rupert Matthews also defected to Reform. Mr Farage says both moves mark a major moment in his justice agenda. And just before I hand you back to Martin, in Westminster, the TV and radio legend James Whale has died at 74. Known, of course, for his iconic phone-ins, he became a household name in the 80s. A cancer survivor too, Whale founded Kidney Cancer UK and earned an MBE for his charity work. Friends and colleagues are remembering him today as a rule breaker, but also a good friend. That's the news on GB News. Back with you in an hour's time. Now, though, it's over to Martin.
Thank you, Sam, and welcome back to GB News Tonight. With me, your host, Martin Dorby. Now, earlier on today, the Reform UK leader Nigel Farage announced Reform UK's latest defections, as well as their latest updates on their criminal justice campaign.
Definitely think that we've caught the mood of the country with this campaign. All sorts of arguments over statistics, but what is beyond doubt is that there is a very strong and growing perception in the country that something is wrong all the way through from policing on the streets, right through the courts and all the way to the prison system.
Well, among the defections were Rupert Matthews, the Police and Crime Commissioner for Leicestershire and Rutland, as well as the former prison governor, Vanessa Frake, who joins me in a moment. Now, Miss Frake has quite the CV, including being Rose West's prison governor, which caused controversy early today when she said this about trans prisoners.
Should trans women be automatically removed from all women's prisons all the time?
No, I don't think they should. What I do think is that each should be risk assessed on an individual basis. You know, I think it depends on a lot of factors. And the prison service is, you know, my life was spent doing risk assessments. And, you know, I think based on that risk assessment depends on where that person should go. Look, I'm not an expert on trans people. All that I know is that everybody should be treated with humanity and decency.
Well, I'm joined now by the woman of the moment. That is the former Prisons Governor and now Reform UK's Justice Advisor, Vanessa Frake. Vanessa, a pleasure to have you on the show as ever. Let's start with the intended message. You clamping down on sentencing, on soft sentencing in prisons. You want super max prisons. You also spoke eloquently today about the blight, the issue of Islamic gangs in British prisons. Let's start with that.
Yeah, good evening, Martin. Yet again, I see. But look, our prisons are on their knees, whichever way you look at it, and something needs to be done. And Reform were kind enough to ask me for my opinions, and I gave them my opinions. And they then asked me if I would work with them. And, you know, you can sit back and say nothing and just moan about it, or you can stand up and be counted. And the more people that stand up and be counted, the better, in my opinion. And that is why I accepted their offer.
And a lot of people believe that we're letting people out of jail too soon, that sentencing is too soft. We often hear that life should mean life, and it does not. And all of this, Vanessa Frake, has precipitated a lack of trust in the British prison system. Do you think you can put that right?
Well, I can have a good try at it. I think, you know, public confidence is at an all-time low within our prison system. We see it as a two-tier justice system where some people are treated fairly or many are treated unfairly. You know, you have somebody who made a stupid tweet who gets 31 months, and then you have somebody who had sex with a child under 16 getting a suspended sentence. Well, that can't be right, can it? And I am a firm believer. Now, if I could just correct you on the supermax prisons. I didn't say supermax prisons. I said a supermax regime. Many of our high security estate prisons can be reconstructed to offer a supermax regime. That is prisoners who spend 23 hours a day behind their doors. They're handcuffed when they come out, escorted by 3 staff and a member of staff with a patrol dog. They are experienced staff to deal with these manipulators and aggressors against staff, and that's what I'd like to see. I don't want to see appeasement of the likes of Ruda Cabana and Hashim Abedi that murdered 20 innocent people at the Manchester Arena, letting them have access to their own cooking utensils and cooking their own meals, and the ability to throw boiling oil over a prison officer and stab 2 other prison officers untold times. I don't want to see that. I believe that every prison officer who, let's face it, does a very, very difficult job in very difficult circumstances, they have the right to go to work and knowing that they will go home at the end of the day safe to their families.
OK, Vanessa Frake, we have to address the issues, of course, that have been seized upon by your political opponents, by the press today, and that is the topic of trans prisoners. The Supreme Court ruling states quite clearly biological men are men, they can't become women. Even Shabana Mahmood, the Justice Secretary, has said that no serious trans woman, that's a biological man, could ever be allowed into the female prison estate. And yet today you said this should be judged on a case-by-case basis. Vanessa, are you going woke?
No, I am not going woke. Is treating people with humanity woke, Martin? What if it was your daughter or your son? Look, I'm incredibly disappointed that I've been so misconstrued. I have never suggested that I would ever put any at-risk prisoner into the general population, and nor did I ever suggest that putting a prisoner who is a risk to other prisoners in the general population. That is why I've been very clear. There are many complex, bespoke prisoners, and risk assessments which are completed by skilled, experienced prison staff on a case-by-case basis is the way forward. At the end of the day, Martin, we are talking about 0.3% of the prison population. I'm focusing on the other 99.7%. I have worked with female offenders. I have seen the abuse that they have suffered. I would never, ever put a female offender in a position that brought back any angst or worry or concern to a female prisoner. Can I make that perfectly clear?
So I just want to spell that out once again. You do not believe, for example, that a biological man who now claims to be a woman, a trans woman, with a history of sex offending, they should never be allowed into a female prison estate. Is that your position?
That is absolutely crystal clear, my position.
Good. And what kind, on a case-by-case basis, for example, what kind of biological men perhaps could be allowed into a female prison?
Look,
I think people just want some clarity.
Again, Martin, OK, look, if you've got a complete trans woman who has completely transgendered to a female, has been living as a female for the last 30 years, is not a sex offender, has lived their life as a woman for the last 30 years, what are you now telling me that we put them into the general population in the male estate? Because to me, that isn't humane and it is not counting decency. I'm not saying that that person should be in the general population in the female estate. This is a minefield, whichever way you look at it, whichever way you swing, whichever thoughts you have, it's a minefield, and it's always going to be difficult.
And Vanessa,
yes,
just
the
one
law
final,
is the law,
just
and I abide by the law.
Just one final question. I just think people just want some clarity, and that is this: is this your personal opinion, or do you think it could become Reform Party policy?
I don't know. I haven't had that conversation. Nigel Farage is very aware of my position and what I think, but he still hired me.
OK, Vanessa.
I'll say
Frank.
no more than that. Look, I've been doing this for 2 days, Martin.
Yeah, I understand that, Vanessa Frake. And look, you know, I've had you on the show a bunch of times before, and I never think you've had a woke bone in your body. But I had to get some clarity on this because a lot of people are talking about it. Welcome to the rough and tumble world of politics. That's the way it is. That's Reform UK's Justice Advisor, Vanessa Frake. Thank you very much for joining us on GB News tonight. Well, let's get straight to GB News. A senior political commentator, Nigel Nelson. Nigel, no doubt you actually agree that a woman can have a penis.
I do.
That's your position.
That is my position.
So you are properly woke on this issue. So what's your take on Reform UK's new justice role here?
Well, I like Vanessa very much. I think she talks an awful lot of common sense. The idea that a rapist would be allowed into a woman's prison, a trans rapist, is an absolute nonsense. She says no way would that ever happen. Great. Perfect. She says it should be done on a case-by-case basis.
So you do agree that some women with penises are a danger?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I don't think that you... I took the view, in fact, that a woman with a penis shouldn't be in a female facility. I am now convinced by Vanessa, what Vanessa has said, that if you do the proper risk assessment, you work on it on a case-by-case basis, it would be possible. The example she gave was very good. Somebody who's lived as a woman for 30 years, do you then throw them into a male jail? I think that she says that would be inhumane. I agree with that.
Let's move on to the broader concept of tougher sentences, particularly for killers. We hear all the time on this channel that people think life should mean life, often doesn't mean life, and often serious criminals are released too soon. That's what the Labour Party are doing. Surely it's a welcome move for tougher sentences for those who need them.
Yes, I mean, for those who need them. What in fact Vanessa also talks about is she thinks that shorter sentences should be abolished. She's on the same side then as David Gauke when he did his review of sentencing. What David Gauke said was that only in exceptional circumstances should there be a sentence given of below 12 months. Those sentences. What Vanessa says is that people lose their homes, their families, their entire support network, and that just drives them to greater crime. So she seems to be on the side of the reformers on that one rather than reform. I've no idea what Reform will think about all this, but it just sounds that what she's talking about from her experience makes great sense.
And don't forget that Vanessa Frake is a highly experienced prison governor and an advisor. This isn't Reform Party policy, to our knowledge, as yet. Nigel Nelson, thank you very much for joining us on the show. More of you in a moment. And also, I'll be joined soon, next, by one of those pink protesters from yesterday's demonstration outside Canary Wharf's Britannia Hotel. She has the full inside story of what's going on at ground level. This is me, Martin Daubney, on GB News Tonight.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel. Yes, we did it.
Thank you for making us Britain's #1 news channel. We couldn't have done it without you.
Absolutely not. It is down to each and every single one of you who chooses to watch us, to listen to us, and to be a part of what we're trying to do. Thank you.
This is just the beginning. Britain's #1 news channel.
Welcome back to GB News Tonight with me, your host, Martin Daubney. Now, over the weekend, the nation saw widespread discontent once again over the Labour government's continued use of hotels to house Channel immigrants. Now, just today, the government announced a £100 million of extra funding to help smash those gangs, but with the news suggesting the majority of asylum claims being made by visa overstayers rather than those crossing the Channel, perhaps it suggests that our asylum woes extend far beyond just the English Channel. Well, I'm joined now by Lorraine Kavanagh, OBE, who is one of the pink protester organisers at Canary Wharf. Lorraine, an absolute pleasure to have your company. This is the protest that made the media, made the Labour Party, made a lot of people across the country stand up and take notice. We were told that you're all far-right extremists. We were told you're all Nazis. In actual fact, we saw a peaceful protest from women, from mothers, from daughters, from women concerned about their safety. Lorraine, tell us what motivated you to stand up or sit down and be counted.
Yeah, we proved you're all wrong, didn't we? We proved you're all wrong. We are mothers, grandmothers, aunts, sisters who wanted to protect our family. We don't hate these men. We don't hate these men at all. What we hate is what the government has done. You know, we witness pensioners going up to the local supermarket, getting a basket and looking for the red stickers for reduced labels to get a bit of meat. And then we witness these guys, 20s, 30s, getting 3 meals a day in an unlimited time 4-star hotel in Egyptian sheets, you know, mobile phones, and now I'm understood they get a £500 voucher to get clothing. And it's unfair. And that's why we were standing up, because it's unfair. Not because of the men. No doubt half of them would go nowhere near our children. But not one of them women are going to play roulette with their child's life.
And Lorraine, we saw during that protest, you're doing a conga. It was very peaceful. It was very well-natured. And then a group of masked outsiders came up. And I put it to you, it's part of the problem with these protests is that outsiders come along from whatever their political persuasion and get involved when this really should be about local voices speaking about local issues.
Martin, please, those were fathers. We knew they were coming. OK, we knew they were coming. We knew they were setting off the flares. The kids knew. If you could see the video footage, we were all cheering. OK, they were masked because their businesses are threatened. The teachers' assistants can't sit on the line with us because they're threatened of the sack, you know? And these guys, we knew they were coming. As soon as they finished letting off the masks, the police let them go. They took off the mask and they joined the queue like they have been for the last week and a half. We knew it was happening. And this is what the media does. You know, only last week that I waved to a car that cheered me on with one arm. And I come across as this, you know, Nazi pensioner.
Lorraine, I want to show you another clip now which proves your point precisely. So you're saying you knew who these people were. They were friends of the protest, and yet the police made them remove their masks. Take a look at this clip now, sent to me from the Barbican Hotel, the Thistle. Also on the same day by a friend of mine, a military veteran. And people who were wearing masks were screaming at him, "Nazi scum, off our streets." Take a look. So, Lorraine, I want to put it to you that those people weren't told to remove their masks. Those people weren't reprimanded by the police. Do you think, from your experience on these protests, we're seeing yet more two-tiered policing?
Definitely. Definitely. You know what? I cannot answer for the police, but those boys that were mingling amongst us, I could tell they was on our side. And basically, if they didn't have their uniform on, they'd be sitting down in a pink T-shirt.
And Lorraine, could I finally just get a take from you about, you know, how you think that the political class has got this wrong? I mean, a year ago, Sir Keir Starmer was calling anybody who protested far right, and yet you people continue to turn out, you continue to defy that label, and you're standing up and you're being counted. Do you think the political class, the mainstream media, have got you guys completely wrong?
Completely wrong. Completely wrong. Listen, Martin, I must get across to you what the people on the Isle of Dogs are going to do, OK? I have never seen so many police arrive with a bunch of women in pink t-shirts. There's not been as many in West Ham Stadium as there was there down on the island. Okay. Basically, we have to protect ourselves. So we have introduced a sticker that says the Isle of Dogs watchdog, and that will go in people's cars, it will go in the shop windows, and it will go in businesses on the island. That will alert women and children if they fear anything, if they're frightened of anything, they can wave that card down and that person will get out. I will get out. You knock me down, I will crawl up your trouser leg, because I will not let anybody touch my children, my grandchildren, my daughters, or anybody else on the Isle of Dogs. And that goes for every single one of them women that sat there today. I am so proud to say that I led them women and they came behind me because they believed in me. And we will continue to do that. We will continue to do that until the government listened from bottom up instead of top down.
OK, Lorraine Kavanagh, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us and helping to clarify the situation there at Canary Wharf. You keep going. Pleasure, and let's get back on the show in the future. Lorraine, thank you very, very much. Nigel Nelson, let's get to you. You heard it there from Lorraine quite clearly. These are not far-right extremists. They're just people very concerned about safety and unfairness in their localities.
Yeah, and Lorraine's got every right to protest. She protests peacefully, which is ideal. And so no complaints about that. The problem with all these protests is that no one seems to actually understand that they don't do any good. We are not.
What are they meant to do? Just suck it up and take it?
Well, it's to come to a solution, basically, but it won't stop the boats.
Aren't listening.
Well, but the government are trying to do something. We're not going to stop the boats. We might be able to reduce the numbers. The question for
But they're dumping these people in their communities with no say and no voice and no consultancy.
But you've got to put them somewhere. And at the moment, the idea is to get rid of hotels by the end of the Parliament, but they've got to go somewhere. These people are
in HMOs on a street with working class community. They won't be housed near politicians.
No, but the whole thing is, where do you put them? We've tried.
Well, you can try not letting them in. You could try turning them back.
Turn them back to where?
Detaining. You could detain them perhaps in a purpose-built prison.
No, you can't detain them. Not indefinitely anyway. Where would you turn them back to?
We could turn them back to France. That
No,
could be tried.
Those are the ideas that are so absurdly impractical, it just wouldn't work.
So stuffing them in a HMO down the corner of a working class community, stuffing them in a hotel with no say, that's a good solution, is it?
No, it is not a
terrible solution.
It's not a good solution. It's the least worst solution. That's all it is. You've got to put them somewhere. And so,
why?
Because turning them back to France won't work.
Why not?
Because the French could just put them on a ferry and take them back here.
Well, we give the French £500 million a year. This is what we get in return. Perhaps stop the dosh.
The French have disrupted 700 boats this year so far.
25,000 thus far.
Yeah,
record
I mean, it would have been a
numbers.
lot higher if we hadn't had some French cooperation. At the moment,
a lot higher than a record amount.
Later this week, we should get the one-in, one-out deal signed with Emmanuel Macron.
How many have gone out so far? And there are almost 1,000 in the other day.
Yeah,
How many have gone out?
But we're signing the
Probably
deal.
not.
We are signing the deal at the end of the week. We would, if we hadn't had Brexit, we probably would have been able to send a few others back.
It's all about Brexit. Hardly anybody went back
Not all about
under
Brexit, but it is partly about Brexit because we did have an agreement whereby we could send people back.
Hardly anybody was sent back under the Dublin Agreement.
I know that, and
Hardly
not that many people be sent back by the one-in, one-out deal.
Correct.
So what is actually happening is you're doing a load of different things that might reduce the numbers, but that's the most we could hope for.
OK. Well, we've got to leave it there. Thank you very much. In a moment, we'll be looking at the backlash the Prime Minister is facing as Hamas welcomed his decision to recognise Palestine as one of the fruits of October the 7th.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Storm Floris has already broken some August wind gust records across parts of Scotland, and we're not out of the woods yet. It's going to stay very windy indeed, especially for the far north and northeast of Scotland as Floris moves away overnight. And it's going to be a blustery night wherever you are, but the peak wind gusts of 60 to 70, perhaps 80 to 90 will be felt across the far north and northeast of Scotland, continuing to bring disruption because of the unseasonable and unusually strong nature
of florists. Blustery elsewhere across the UK, further showers following into much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, North West England, North and West Wales, 1 or 2 showers further south. But overall, a dry start to the day for southern parts of the UK, a very blustery and showery start to the day for much of Scotland, especially the far north of Scotland, Shetland seeing again 50-60 mile/hour wind gusts as we begin Tuesday. So it's still going to be very windy even as Flores heads into Norway. Across the rest of Scotland as well as Northern Ireland, not quite as windy as we've started the week, and those gusty winds continue to drive showers into northwestern parts of the UK in particular. Some heavy downpours interspersed by brighter spells, and all in all things are very gradually calming down through Tuesday, but it will take a time. It's going to be a breezy day wherever you are. The brightest skies will be in the south, with temperatures responding well, 23, 24 Celsius. Further north, feeling cool with that gusty wind continuing into the afternoon and those showers coming and going. Wednesday starts off calm, plenty of sunshine across the UK, some patchy cloud in the far north, a bit of a breeze here, and outbreaks of rain moving through. But mostly Wednesday settled. We've got high pressure in place, plenty of sunny skies. Then another low comes along for Thursday and Friday, not quite as potent as Storm Floris, but still bringing some strong winds to the far north.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to GB News Tonight with me, Martin Daubney. Now, will the Prime Minister's decision to recognise Palestine backfire? Well, Keir Starmer is on the wrong end of the backlash from Labour MPs after Hamas praised the move as one of the fruits of October the 7th. Well, a group of Labour MPs, as well as the campaign against anti-Semitism and the families of the hostages. Well, they've called on the government to delay recognising the state of Palestine now until Hamas release all of the remaining hostages. And we just learned in the last few moments that reports from Israel media said the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, is set to step up the offensive in Gaza and now seize the entire area. And he will discuss the next steps in a security cabinet meeting later this week. Now, Hamas recently shared a sick video of one of those hostages, Evyatar David, digging his own grave and looking in an emaciated state. I'm joined now by Tamar Escher, the cousin of Evyatar David. Welcome to the show, Tamar. A pleasure to have your company. May I get your immediate reaction to the news that Benjamin Netanyahu now may step up the offensive in Gaza?
I have to say I am not a politician or a military person, so I don't know too much about it to say, but from our experience throughout this whole time, everything is always part of the negotiation, and I hope this is one of those things too.
OK, let's get back now onto the notion of Sir Keir Starmer joining other governments around the world, saying that he thinks it's the right thing to do to recognise the state of Palestine. Your cousin is still held prisoner by Hamas. How does that make you feel?
The fact that my cousin is still in captivity, this is my main issue. This is my whole life right now, after seeing the conditions he's held in, after seeing the torture he's going through, after seeing how cynical they are. They starve him for cynical propaganda. They torture him for their cynical propaganda. And for now, I can't think about anything else other than my cousin's life, honestly.
And I think we should perhaps take a look at this video now. It's incredibly distressing, just to warn viewers watching. And I apologise to you, Tamar, for showing this again, but I think we need to see it. So let's take a look now at that video, what we're led to believe. Look, you can see there an extremely emaciated individual, your cousin, Evyatar David, underground in that warren of tunnels. And we were told this is him. Look at that, just incredibly thin, wasting away with a spade in his hand. We're led to believe he was instructed by Hamas to dig his own grave, When you look at pictures like that, Tamar, a lot of us thought these were images that were consigned to the dustbin of history. It just looks like a Nazi concentration camp.
It does, and it's crazy to me to think that it's still happening in 2025. People are still being starved on purpose, out of cruelty, out of hatred, and I can't think of any human being that could do such a thing, that could starve a person. And I say it's on purpose, because you can see the hand that gives him the can of beans, and the hand is full, it is healthy. And we also know from the people who were with Evyatar and were released that while they are starving for food, they are pleading for water to drink, they can smell the food in the next door, and they can hear them eating, and they know they are not going to get a bite of it.
Tamar, can I quickly ask you, what kind of person would release a video like that?
As I said, they have no limit to the cruelty. They see him as a tool. They don't see him as a human being. And I think that's the similarity to 80 years ago. They didn't see him as human beings. And that's how they see Evyatar. He's a tool for them. They can starve him so he would look a certain way. They can torture him to make another video. They can make him dig his own grave just to film it. It's like they have scripts ready for him. They think about it. It's not a spontaneous video. They plan it ahead of time, maybe month, to choose who's the hostage, who's thin enough to do this video. And it's really the most unhuman. It's not even humanitarian. It's unhuman. And really, I don't know how such cruelty and hatred is still in this world. How do they say it's about their religion when it's against their own religions?
Okay.
I can't describe in words what I'm feeling.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. I can't imagine the unimaginable pain and hardship you're going through. I sincerely send you our love and support from here in the United Kingdom. And I pray your cousin makes it safely out. I sincerely do. Thanks for joining us on the show tonight. Nigel Nelson, back here. That's incredibly tough to watch that, incredibly difficult to comprehend what's even going on there. Let's try, if we can, to go back to the original point of, is it the correct thing to do? When you see the barbarity there being inflicted upon that man in a dungeon, is it the right thing to do to reward that kind of behaviour, to reward October the 7th, the terrible crimes committed by Hamas on innocent Israelis? Is it really the correct thing to do to give state recognition from Keir Starmer?
I feel desperately for Tamar and for her cousin. This is not about rewarding Hamas. We don't negotiate with Hamas. We don't give succor to Hamas. We don't reward Hamas. We don't.
You will do if you recognise their state.
No,
Hamas
it doesn't, because
control.
Hamas have nothing to do with this. That they don't play. As far as diplomatically goes, they are completely irrelevant. We are.
They run the country.
No, they run a bit of the country. They run a bit of Gaza. We are dealing with the Palestinian Authority Authority who run the West Bank, which is where the majority of Palestinians are. When this war is over, the Palestinian Authority will run Gaza.
You think that will happen? You don't think that Hamas could melt into the new lot and become
no
part
way
of the
they
ruling
melt in.
class?
Dealing with Hamas is going to be a huge problem.
So why do it?
But when we're recognising the state of Palestine, bear in mind it is a symbolic gesture. I accept it's symbolic, but symbolic gestures aren't necessarily insignificant. There are enough countries joining us in doing the recognition. Canada, France, Spain has just done it. Norway's just done it, Ireland's just done it. What we're trying to say to Israel is, for goodness sake, the only solution is a two-state solution. What we should be doing is recognising one of those states.
OK, Nigel Nelson, thank you for your input on that. And we have some fresh breaking news for you now on the show, and it's this. Tommy Robinson has been arrested at Luton Airport after a video emerged which appeared to show the activist walking away from the scene of an alleged assault at St Pancras railway station in the last few moments. British Transport Police said this. Officers from BTP have tonight arrested a 42-year-old man from Bedfordshire in connection to the assault at St Pancras Station in London on July the 28th. And the arrest took place at Luton Airport shortly after 6:30 p.m, following a notification that the man had boarded an incoming flight from Faro, and the man had been wanted for questioning after leaving the country to Tenerife in the early hours of August the 29th, following that incident at St Pancras. He was arrested on suspicion of GBH and will now be taken to custody for questioning. Just to repeat that breaking news, Tommy Robinson has been arrested at Luton Airport around about 6:30 p.m. this evening. That was after the alleged assault, the connection to alleged assault at St Pancras railway station in London on July the 28th. The arrest took place, as I said, at Luton Airport shortly after 6:30 p.m, right about an hour and 15 minutes ago, following a notification that the man had boarded an incoming flight from Faro, and the man had been wanted for questioning after leaving the country to Tenerife in the early hours of August the 29th, following the incident at St Pancras. He was arrested on suspicion of GBH and will now be taken to custody for questioning. So, moving on. After the break, in a TV First, I'll be joined by the teacher who claims that he has been sacked simply for criticising the length of Lucy Connolly's jail sentence. Now, this is going to be box office gold. You'll not want to miss it.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's a bit of a mixed picture across much of Europe over the next couple of days, with thunderstorms across parts of the Balkans, but across parts of Spain and Portugal, we're going to see that heat building over the next couple of days. Maximum temperatures could be reaching up to around 40 degrees and minimum temperatures not dropping much below 20 degrees overnight too. Those thunderstorms will continue across parts of Greece and the Balkans over the next couple of days, but it should be turning a little bit drier towards the end of the week. But that heat does continue to rise by the end of the week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays here only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
And welcome back to GB News Tonight with me, your host, Martin Daubney. Now, the teacher Simon Pearson has been sacked from his school, Preston College, following a number of social media posts that criticised two-tier justice. Now, he described the two Manchester airport defendants as savages, a case that remains ongoing after a jury found that Mohammed Fahir and Amaz guilty of attacking two female police officers and an earlier assault on a member of the public. While it was unable to reach verdicts on the allegations that Amaz and his brother Mohammed Ahmad assaulted PC Zachary Marsden, causing actual bodily harm, with the retrial expected in April, and the brothers arguing they were acting in self-defence. But back to Mr Pearson. He also criticised the 31-month sentence handed to Lucy Connolly after her tweet during the Southport aftermath, while also condemning what she had said. Now, following the comments, the Muslim representatives of the NEU, that's the National Education Union at Preston College, submitted a formal complaint to the college alleging that the Facebook posts were Islamophobic and racially discriminatory. Now, the school's investigation concluded that he had violated Preston College's policies. The teacher is now taking legal action, which has been filed at an employment tribunal with claims of wrongful dismissal, unfair dismissal, harassment and discrimination. But the question remains, is it fair to lose your job over what you say online? Well, the man of the moment joins me now, Simon Pearson. Welcome to GB News Tonight. So are you feeling hard done by here? And do you feel that your freedom of speech has been violated and you've paid the price?
Yes, very much so. Yeah, I've served Preston College for 20 years. I've served my students faithfully. I've been defending their rights as well, from whatever race, from whatever religion, and I've demonstrated to the college that they have no basis of truth in their accusations, and unfortunately, they dismissed me in February.
And so, Simon Pearson, reflecting on your comments, you said Lucy Connolly should not have been jailed. You call it appalling, obviously wrong, and an example of two-tier policing. Do you stand by those comments?
I actually said what she said in the post was appalling. It's indefensible, but she did delete it 4 hours later, I believe, and she obviously didn't mean what she said. And, I think policing social media is awful for our country. It has been for me, being labelled as Islamophobic, which is made it very difficult for me to find another job. It's you know what? Once you get labelled like that, and it's not true.
And Simon Pearson, your union, the NEU, reported you. A lot of people saying they thought it was a union's position to defend teachers.
Actually, it wasn't my union. It was two people who were on my Facebook friends only area, and they were the ones who told the union about what I'd written and basically accused me. And through the union, they brought that to the college.
OK, and quickly, if we could, do you think that free speech in the United Kingdom is slipping into a dystopian world of where if you say the wrong thing, you're simply thrown to the wolves?
Yes, I do. You should be able to express what you really believe, what is of concern in society, without fear of recrimination. And my 30-year record has been unblemished until they've labelled me something that I'm absolutely not. So it's a travesty, really, and that's why I'm fighting basically to clear my name.
OK, Simon Pearson, thank you for joining us on the show tonight. I really appreciate your time. Nigel Nelson, quick comment from you on this case.
Well, I mean, first of all, there is a case to answer here that under Preston College's positive behaviour framework, which is effectively their code of conduct, there certainly is a case to answer that says you should not put online stuff up which is racist, homophobic, or sexual. On the basis of that, I think that he has to answer that, but it'll be for an employment tribunal to decide whether it's right or wrong.
OK, thank you. We've got a quick couple of comments here, and a National Education Union spokesman told GB News this. The management of Preston College reached a decision to dismiss the teacher following disciplinary procedures. The NEU was not directly involved in these processes, and it will be for the employment tribunal to consider the fairness of the dismissal if and when the claim reaches a hearing. And a Preston College spokesman told GB News this. Upon receipt of complaint from a number of our staff, an internal investigation was undertaken into whether some of Mr Pearson's social media posts were a breach of the college's staff behaviour code and values. And following an investigation and subsequent disciplinary process, Mr Pearson was dismissed from his employment at the college. Well, we've got coming up next is State of the Nation with Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg. Sir Jacob, before we get to what's on your meaty menu tonight, quick thought there on Simon Pearson's dismissal.
It seems deeply unfair that he's expressed a political view of a matter that is currently of topical debate. Is there two-tier justice? Was somebody treated very unfairly, disproportionately, compared to other much more lenient sentences? That's a topic of active political debate, and freedom of speech means that people must be allowed to express their views. So I think the college has got it wrong. They should unwind the decision, and we'll see what your employment tribunal has to say about it.
OK, final minute of the show. What's on your show tonight,
Lots tonight. We've got Tim Martin on, the founder of Wetherspoons, perhaps the most popular chain of pubs in the country. Have one in Midsummer Norton in the old cinema there, which was a great boon to that lovely town, which I used to represent. And we're talking about ID cards and why this is always the solution when government policy fails. When the government's useless, it can't make anything work, it says, oh, let's have ID cards, that'll make everything better. As if criminals are going to have ID cards. It'll just be a nuisance for the law-abiding. So I'm going to be discussing that with Matthew Stadlen.
And what else do we have on the show? We've got a quick 40 seconds.
Oh, we've got lots. We're talking about the Truss v Badenoch row.
Oh, yeah.
So who should we listen to? The former leader of the Tory party, the current leader of the Tory party? Is Liz Truss right that actually what we need to be saying we regret is we didn't get out of the European Convention of Human Rights and that we kept spending money as if it were going out of fashion over COVID? And so it's those questions that we need to be looking at, and fascinating to see two former Tory leaders disagreeing with each other so publicly.
Superb stuff. State of the Nation is up next with Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg. Thank you to Nigel Nelson. I'll be back tomorrow 3 till 6 p.m. Have a fantastic evening. But first, here's your weather.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front.
Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Storm Floris has already broken some August wind gust records across parts of Scotland.